Harvard's latest Christian fellowship is placed on probation after defunded, they were placed on probation and defunded after simply exercising their religious right. The group, Harvard College Faith and Action, asked one of its student leaders to step down after revealing she was in a same-sex relationship. The university was not happy about the group's move, labeling them, quote, intolerant.
Our next guest calls out Harvard for its, quote, intolerance in a new op-ed writing. The more the liberal state and liberal institutions squeeze Orthodox believers, the harder it becomes to imagine liberalism returning to some prior state, to the days when liberalism not only accommodated, but even encouraged traditional morality and belief.
So is Harvard waging war on Christianity? Here to weigh in, senior writer for commentary and author of that op-ed, Sohrab Ahmari. Thank you, Sohrab, for being here.
Pleasure.
So for me, this is not an issue about same-sex marriage or same-sex relationships. It's about religious organizations being able to adhere to their beliefs freely in a free society. But in this particular case, they chose to make a decision based on their faith, and as a result, were punished by the university.
That's exactly right. Look, Harvard is a private institution. It's not bound by the First Amendment. Nevertheless, it puts itself forward as an institution where there is free inquiry and free speech, and a component of that is freedom of association, which means that groups, depending on their religious faith or other political views, can choose who their leadership should be. So it's a violation of that principle, which still applies, I think, at Harvard, for Harvard to be an institution where freedom matters. And it's just part of a bigger pattern where you begin to question whether we really still live in a free society. I mean, if you hold up a checklist, you know, we still have competitive elections, thank God. We still have a free and robust press, thank God. But in many areas of life, particularly in culture, entertainment, journalism, and academia especially, it doesn't feel that way. People feel there's this kind of pervasive low-grade pressure that you have to conform your opinions to the latest liberal orthodoxy, which, by the way, is shifting every minute.
Right, that whether or not religious liberty still exists. So we're getting a statement from the school. This is a statement from the undergraduate council member who says, I think this, and as it's called, about solidarity, I think this is an important symbolic move to show that we, as the elected representatives of the student body, will not tolerate discrimination.
Well, there's no discrimination involved here. I mean, within our broader society and at Harvard, there are all sorts of protections for gays and lesbians and other sexual minorities. This is about the right of a particular group to uphold its faith beliefs. And I think this is very dangerous because at some point you get to a situation where people don't feel like they can uphold their faith. So look, I mean, liberalism no longer asks that you give them rights or you give them recognition. They've already won all the rights and recognitions. We have gay marriage, we have transgender rights. But now increasingly, you as the individual, you Pete, you Abby, have to, in your soul, believe that you have to make the cake, that you know, Caitlyn Jenner was always a woman, was never Bruce. You have to, as a Christian organization, allow an active bisexual to be your Christian club president.
Well, that's right. It's political correctness. It goes from acceptance to conformity to celebration, and if you don't accept it, then you're wrong, and that's where speech and freedom of association ends.
So,
Sohrab,
thank you for being with us.
Appreciate your perspective. You got it.